My name is Travis Hickey. Born and raised in Mason City, lived here my whole life. Graduated from Mason City High School, went to Nyack. Married to Monica for 10 years. She works at the Same Day Surgery Center. We have two boys, Trev, who's 9 years old, and Zach, who's 7, who attend Hoover School. The main reason I decided to run again is for economic development purposes, jobs. I know 6 years ago, I believe it was, we had a chance to bring possibly a Target distribution center into Mason City. 1,200 jobs, $16 an hour starting wage, and we kind of turned them to the wayside, so to speak, saying we didn't think we had the population base to support it. I think when you bring an industry in like that to Mason City, people will travel for miles and miles. Mercy's a prime example, Winnebago's another prime example. And that's kind of what geared me up 6 years ago and why I'm still interested in running today.
In your first term, what do you think have been some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Well, we've had numerous accomplishments, in my opinion. Residential tax rebates. We've done 17 agreements with businesses over the last 3.5 years. Previous 13 years, or 15 years, the council had done 13 agreements, so we've increased that part of it. I think perception of the city has been a big thing that we've accomplished. We've kind of went from being the joke of the state, in my opinion, to being well respected, and as even last night, as you've seen, we received numerous awards for our downtown, for our city, and the progress that we're achieving. And I'd like to see it keep continuing that way.
You talked a little bit about the perception of the city, and what about the direction? Do you think it's what kind of direction do you think the city is going into, and do you agree with how things have been gone in the last few years?
I think the city's moving in the right direction. Staff, we've made some changes in staff. We have a great city administrator in Brent Trout. We have a new human resource manager in Perry Buffington. Staff is great. Our city council, since the addition of the 3 new members, Marinos, John Lee, Alex Kuhn, we all work together. We don't always agree on every topic, but we challenge each other. We work together, and we try to come to a resolution that's not only good for the city and the citizens as well, and the taxpayers. So I think the perception's been good, and I'd like to see it continue to move the way that it's going now.
We talked about jobs and the Target thing. What do you think the role of the city is in providing good jobs, and how do you think we're doing in that regard, and what would you like to see more of?
Well, I can tell you, as a council member, we can't bring jobs and industry to Mason City. What we can do is we can create an environment, a positive environment that cities or industry will look at Mason City as a place to bring their business to town. I'm part of the the North Iowa Corridor Board, which we've collaborated with the city, the county, and Clear Lake. We have a very good EDC director with Brent Willett. It's been pretty amazing to see these 3 entities come together, so we're not competing against each other. We're working together to help build Cerro Gordo County. If Clear Lake gets a good business that comes into their town, that's great, because it also benefits the county and Mason City, because then people are still going to live and shop here as well. So is there more we can do? Yeah, there's most definitely more we can do, but I think the biggest thing we can do is provide that positive atmosphere to help lure industry and business to town.
You said there's more you could do. What would you put on that list?
Well, as far as more we can do, I think we can try and sell ourselves, and that's one thing that I don't think we've done a great job over the years. As a city or a council, we've turned some different things away, whether you're for or against, say, like the casino, the Target Distribution Center. I think we have to let people know that we are ready and open for business and be willing to look at everyone that comes to town. Now, of course, some aren't going to be a good fit, but that's where we work with them to try and do what's best for the business and industry, and also make it a good fit for the community as well.
Do you think it's a good investment that this council's made with the $100,000 to the EDC?
I do think it's a good investment.
And why do you think that?
I believe it's a good investment because it shows that we're supporting job growth. The county is also supporting it. The Clear Lake is also supporting it. It just shows that with all three entities working together, that we are doing whatever we can do as a community in North Iowa to help lure industry and jobs and create that atmosphere that shows industry and business that we want you here. Brent Willett has done a fantastic job since he's been here, not only working with Mason City, but Clear Lake and Saragordo County. And he's been very proactive, and he's done a good job.
100,000 enough? 105 enough?
I'd say currently that's been a good starting point. I think until we start seeing some more successes, getting some more additional industry and business in town, it's a good point to start at. If we start seeing more activity where we can hopefully draw some additional business, we could look at it increasing it for the future, but I'm only one of 6 votes currently, and I don't know if the others would think about that.
We talked about the Chamber of Commerce. Are you a big fan of the Chamber? You like to work with those folks over there?
To be honest with you, in the 4 years I've been on the council, I think I've met with Robin Anderson twice. I think the Chamber has its place and serves its function with the community. I know since I've been on the council that we've had a pretty good working relationship with the Chamber of Commerce. Statues being the #1 thing that I know we worked with them on, and that's been a huge success as far as I'm concerned. Ties in with, Visit Mason City and tourism. I wouldn't say I'm for or against them. I think they serve their place, and we continue to work with them as a whole.
What do you think the working relationship should be between the mayor, the council, and city staff?
Well, first, Brent Trout is staff's boss. City council and mayor has direct influence over the city administrator. I can tell you in my role that I do outside of council and my job, I have employees that I work with directly. I think that's Brent's job to work with them directly, and city council's job is to work with Brent Trout to help reach our goals, help maintain our priorities that we set at the beginning of the year. So we work through Brent. It's not our job to interfere with staff and their job.
And you're satisfied it's working real well right now?
As far as I can tell, I've seen less activity in City Hall by current council members. And I think, yes, I think Brent Trout does a good job with staff and keeps us apprised of the situations at hand. And we work with Brent Trout to help meet our needs as well as the city's needs as well.
I don't know if you heard today on the news that the city of Des Moines is contemplating cutting its Human Rights Commission because of duplication of services, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I guess I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, and what do you think? What do you think about your decision, the council's decision? Do you think it was a good thing?
All I can say is, this is my take on it. When we were voted in by our constituents to be second ward representative or vice versa for the other council members, mayor, we were voted to lead. We were voted to make tough decisions and do what's best for the community. In this case, I felt it was a duplication of services. There's already a state human rights commission. We were paying $143,000 for a service compared to other communities the same or similar size that we were not even in the ballpark of what most communities were paying. Most of them were in the $5,000 to $8,000 range. And when we made that decision, based on the numbers. I feel that based on what other communities the same and similar size were doing, we made that decision for the taxpayers of Mason City. Nothing more, nothing less, to be honest with you. It wasn't an easy decision. No, it wasn't an easy decision. But we still have a Human Rights Commission, and I feel confident that they will be able to provide that service for the people that need that service.
As you review your accomplishments over the course of your term and you look forward, should you be elected, what might be 2 or 3 of your top priorities that you would hope yourself and the council could tackle?
Number one priority for our council is the budget. And we've done a very good job since I've been on the council of maintaining our budget. Last year we had 0 tax increase. We've lowered the levy 2 years in a row. I know the first year when we went through the budget process, it was pretty strenuous the first year I was on the council. But we were able to get that down to, if I remember right, $240,000 increase, $243,000. That was equal to what the voter approved levy was for the library. And so basically, other than the voter approved levy, we kept it at a 0% increase that year. That to me has been a huge thing for Mason City and the citizens. We've kept our taxes down while still providing the services for the community at hand through police, fire, sanitation, streets, and even water and sewer. So we've been able to keep the taxes down and still provide the services to the citizens of the community, which to me is our number one goal as a council.
Anything else? Is there 2 and 3 or?
2 and 3.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah. Priorities. Budget. Budget number 1.
Budget's number 1. Be honest with you, if we maintain our services, keep our taxes down, and focus on creating that jobs, and then working with staff to help meet their goals, I think there's nothing more that needs to be done. Now, I guess there is one more thing that hits my mind. We just passed a deal with urban blight last night. We've had property taxing. We did a property tax decrease for people that increase their valuations on their property. Now we did one for urban revitalization incentive plan to help clean up and help neighborhoods that need some assistance. And I would say that's probably one of the other focus areas that I'm involved on, because I know there's areas of town that need some help. And again, this is another tool in our toolbox, so to speak, that we can help. Basically, we're providing low risk with a high reward for the community on that.
How much money's in that plan? Is there a set dollar amount?
No, we're going to do it through property tax rebates
Okay.
on increased evaluations. So really, there's no cost to the taxpayer.
That's the end of our questions. Our boss always has one more here.
Well, I do. and I've asked every candidate this question.
Mhm.
I tried to convince them that it should be on the list, but I have little say in that. That's why I haven't asked many questions, because all Tom gave me was page 1 twice.
You must be able to read this.
Imagine you only have 30 seconds to give your pitch to someone you've never met before on why they should vote for you. What would you say?
I would say vote for Travis Hickey for stability. I would say over the last 4 years, we've provided a council and a mayor that have done their best to bring stability to Mason City. We've kept property taxes down to a minimum. We've worked harder on our services, our streets. We provide great services for fire, police, and other city services. And I'd say that we've done a good job as a whole, following through and on our commitments to moving forward and help Mason City progress for the future.